9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
What up, y'all? Happy Friday. I want to say I'm glad it's Friday, but like the weekend, I work too, so I guess. So happy Friday. Welcome to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's network on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, and we're going to be doing news, reviews, all those good things happening right now. And I am not alone. First time to WWT Live, but not the first time on Women's Wrestling Talk. He is amazing. He is tantalizing. Please welcome Tantalizing Tony. How are you doing?
What's up, everybody? It's me, boy, Tantalizing Tony, and it is such an honor and a privilege to be here finally with you. I was so afraid to be alone, and now I have a compadre. I got the leader. I've got the OTC of WWT, so I'm ready to do this.
Oh, wow. That is a big ass title. But yeah, let's get into it. There's a lot of stuff that is happening. We talked a little bit of Netflix stuff on Monday with The Rock and being at Kevin Hart's roast. And I find it apropos that we are again on Netflix. Ronda Rousey is going to be having an amazing match with Gina Carano tomorrow. It's going to be a MMA match. And she didn't have a lot of, good things to say about, WWE and the crowd. I don't know if you got a chance to read her book. Actually, I think she's had either 2 or 3 books, and she kind of talked about her experience with WWE and, how they did roll out the red carpet for her. However, I don't think they did her justice as far as storylines and all that good stuff. So while speaking with Clutch Sports, Ronda reflected on SummerSlam 2023 match against Shayna Baszler, admitted that the bout was designed more for herself and Baszler than for the WWE audience. Ronda said she loved that the match ended up being her WWE farewell, even though she admitted the fight may have worked better in setting like a blood sport. So what do you think of what she has to say with that?
So my thing with Ronda Rousey is, and listen, Ronda Rousey, one of the most talented combat women in all the sports, definitely legit, definitely take all of us. But with me and Ronda Rousey, I never got the thing that she really loved the business as much as she claimed to. She always had a gripe with it. It was always a complaint. She always seemed like she was whiny to me. When she lost her fights to Holly Holm, when she got knocked out, she seemed so whiny to me. And it always seems like she never gave WWE the respect it deserved. That being said, she's entitled to her opinion. And like I said, you can't dispute the fact that she's, a great competitor. But to me, like I said, I'm not a Ronda Rousey fan, and honestly, I hope Gina Carano knocks her out tomorrow. I'm a big Gina Carano fan. I'm a big Gina Carano fan. I love Gina Carano. I think that both of them being older women that haven't fought in a while, that I don't think Ronda is really ready for what's going to happen to her. So I think Gina Carano. People think it's going to be Ronda. I think Gina Carano pulls upset and lights out.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Well, we have a lot to unpack. I'm always known for telling people what goes on behind the scenes. I said, there's some stories that we put out there that we might talk about, and this is gonna be one of them. It seems like. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Our super chats are open, so for $2 or more, you can ask us more opinions, all that good stuff. Also, if you do want to watch, for instance, SmackDown, and you want to watch it on Netflix, use our NordVPN. You get 75% off with the code WWT. So now there's a couple of things to unpack now with Ronda Rousey. Ronda, and this is why I'm saying, like, I feel like to understand her, you need to read her book. Now, her getting knocked out, I honestly believe it was. I mean, obviously it's MMA, so nothing is scripted with that. The first knockout, she's definitely that happened. The second one, she was doing it as a favor, not to get knocked out, but coming back too soon because of Dana. This is according to Ronda. So I don't know if Dana has refuted this, but this is according to Ronda based off of her book. So Wow, terrible Canadian. Yes, shout out to Drake. I got to like 3 songs on his new album, so I am listening to it. But life be lifing and adulting is adulting. Now when you fast forward and she got to WWE, I think that because of who she was or is, they set out the red carpet for her, but they didn't give her the almost like what they did to Jade Cargill, which I believe because of Ronda, that's what they did to Jade Cargill, meaning that they put Jade in a little bit of time in NXT, let her get her bearings, let her develop her character within the WWE universe, and then brought her to the main roster. But Ronda, they just said, hey, you're Ronda Rousey, do the thing. Now, I got to meet Ronda twice, and both times I sensed that she was more of an introvert than an outrovert. Introverts are notorious that it's like I'm just here to do the job. Being all the extra stuff and the layers and stuff takes time to do that. They didn't allow her to develop who she was. They just told her, hey, you're Ronda Rousey, put on this Roddy Piper jacket and then have at it. That's not how the WWE universe goes. They have to connect with somebody. So they did her a disservice, and in that disservice, you get frustrated because you're here to do a job. So I think that's the thing with Ronda, and I'll preface it that because of reading her book and because of seeing, I was a huge MMA fan because of her. That obviously you can hear in like my voice, and I'm a fan of hers. I'm a fan of women and people making the dream happen and doing big things. So I think in the grand scheme of things, what we saw on the surface, yeah, you'd be like, yeah, she doesn't like wrestling, but who would? If you taught it into the middle of the ring and your character's not all the way there. Like I wasn't feeling her character. She was just Ronda Rousey in the ring. And they did her a disservice by saying, here you go. Knock yourself out.
TK, I agree with you on just about everything you said, because look, you got to give her something to work with. But my issue with with her is this. It's like I will never I can't take away anything from her. She's legit. But the problem is this, is that once you realize, look, you got to read in any sport, you've got to read the crowd. You're a good guy or a bad guy, no matter it's combat sports, baseball, football. There's people that love you, there's people that hate you. She never embraced wanting to be a heel. She thought everybody's going to just love her and it'll be rainbows and sunshine. And to me, that was the problem, because she never really understood the psychology of what WWE sports entertainment is. Look, you know this. You're gonna get booed. Some people on the show right now probably, who is this jabroni? But they may love me, they may hate me. Guess what? I'm gonna read the chat and feel the room. And being a professional athlete that makes the kind of money Ronda Rousey was making, I believe that she didn't give the WWE superstars and the business enough respect to realize that these guys are athletes and they're putting their bodies on the line too. Look, there's no disputing that in an MMA fight, you get choked out, get your jaw broken. But in WWE, you can also get hurt and get killed in the ring. We've seen it happen. Right. So to me, I always believe that, like I said, I don't hate Ronda Rousey. I respect her and like her. But when I hear her constantly complain, like I love Bret Hart. Bret Hart never stops complaining. And when you complain time after time after time, it turns you a little sour. I want to hear some positivity from her. She could be like, you know what? It could have gone better in WWE, but thank you for the time and everything's like, oh, I would do this and I would do that. And that's what I think the turnoff is for someone like me being a man. So I have a different perspective than you. You know what I mean? Now, if Ronda Rousey came face to face with me, I'm definitely going to bow down because I'm not trying to get choked out. But that being said, as somebody that's on the internet, as an internet tough guy, I'm like, I don't want to hear this from Ronda Rousey, her crying, her moaning. That's my thing, you know? So I really think, and you, like I said, TK, I respect you and your points are great and I agree with you. But I think that she has a disconnect with the audience and with the actual sport of wrestling, because wrestling is a sport.
I agree with you on that. However, if so my backstory in wrestling is I started watching wrestling with my dad at a young age. Then I watched it again in college. Then I didn't really get into. So if you had talked to me after college and asked me about the psychology and all the things that are entailed in wrestling that we look at, it's wrestling. I didn't really get into the nuances of it and what it takes to be a superstar until I got, behind the curtain. Not to say you have to get behind the curtain to understand it, but it was until then that I saw the whole scope of it. And now, not to say like nobody didn't explain it to her, but like I said, I think the launch pad for her, it just wasn't like the red carpet was rolled out, but the nuances and the understanding, and then also allowing her to figure it out, or allowing creative to figure it out for her, wasn't there. They're like, hey, you're Ronda, sign the contract. It's Ronda. She's one of the greatest, MMA women's fighters around. There you go. Figure it out. Wrestling is a lot different than sports because you have two athletes. I'll give you a perfect example of being a former track athlete. You have Usain Bolt, naturally charismatic, all the things, right? Then you have Allison Felix. Do you know who Allison Felix is?
I've heard, but I'm not too familiar. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Do you know who Usain Bolt is?
Yes.
They were both in the same track era.
See?
Do you see? You get my difference? So it's
I got you.
She's an amazing athlete. She has a great story. She never went to university. She went straight pro after high school. All the things. One of the fastest women in the world. However, she's not a over the top. She's not Usain Bolt as far as character. So if you throw Usain Bolt in the ring, he's gonna slam it out of the park because that's just who he is, right? You put Allison Felix in the ring, you're gonna have to before you even put her in the ring, you're gonna have to get a crash course to figure out what the nuances of it. And I think that was the issue with Ronda.
And you're right, but
they just,
Yeah, and you're right. But my issue is that she was making a lot of money. So when you're making that much money, you got to figure out
that.
I mean, take the money, of course. Take the money, of course, 100%.
Right.
But she had to have an idea. If she watched wrestling coming up and she liked Roddy Piper, and if she knew CM Punk, and if she knew all the stuff, there's things that she could have done a little bit better. Look, hindsight 2020, and I'll never hate on the women. I just think that what she's done a disservice to herself by constantly downgrading them. Look, that she made more money in WWE than she did in UFC. We know that for a fact.
Yeah.
Right. Right there, that's her major paycheck, and more people know of her, I think, because of WWE than UFC, because WWE is more mainstream. I think so.
My God.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why, PK. Let me tell you why. You got to realize the youth that the age grade we're in now. Like, everybody knows she's at WrestleMania. If you ask a kid what UFC match she had against who, they can't tell you Misha Tate. They can't tell you the people she fought, but they can tell you she was with Kurt Angle and Triple H and Stephanie. You know what I mean? Listen, I'm looking at it from the aspect of little kids. I have an 8-year-old son who only knows Ronda Rousey because she was in WWE. And little kids are what
he knows Ronda Rousey because you are also a wrestling fan. So if you put it against mainstream media, I honestly believe, and I think I could throw up a poll here, but I'll have to figure it out. I honestly believe, as far as mainstream media, Ronda is known for MMA.
Okay,
because also if you listen to the Netflix thing that they have with Ronda and Gina, that WWE was like a blurb. I don't even think that they even said WWE in that thing. They said a wrestling company, and that might be logistics. That might be because of Ronda, whatever. But that's like such a blip to her being an Olympian, to her MMA career and everything that she did with MMA. I think on the mainstream, and then her also doing movies. I think on the mainstream media, I think majority of people know her for MMA. I think your son knows her because you are in the business and you cover wrestling. It's just like people who don't really know much about the Super Bowl, but they know about WrestleMania. It's just about who you're around. So yeah, it's and she's funny. What are you saying, Bosa now? Bosa, and she's fighting Gina tomorrow because Dana wouldn't put her at Trump's aid. Oh, geez, Bosa. Well, the fight is happening tomorrow. Tony, you said that you have Gina. I'm actually torn because it's one of those things where I feel like Gina does need the win, but because I feel like Ronda doesn't care either way. Meaning, like she's definitely gonna train to win, but I feel like she takes the L. She's living her best life right now.
But this is my thing. I think if she loses, she's gonna lose a lot of credibility, and because she loves the spotlight. You can't say she doesn't. When she was winning, she was very arrogant about, she wouldn't even shake hands with some of those girls. And I get it. It's a mind thing. It's, you got to try to psych your opponent out. But every time she got beat, to me, there was no humility. And I think that a beating from Gina Carano will humble her. I do, and that's what I want to see because I'm
Wow.
being honest. Look, I like Ronda Rousey. I don't hate the woman, and like I said, you can't take nothing away from her. She's a mom now, and she's making her dreams come true. And I always want everybody to win, but sometimes you need to catch that loss to get a little humble. Trust me, I know personally. Sometimes you gotta be humble. You gotta take a loss. And tomorrow,
Dan, you know she already took 2 L's. She needs another loss.
This one's different because she didn't get humble from it. You would think after that she got beat, and then she went to WWE.
The
and then
woman
she
cried on Ellen TV internationally.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I cry when I eat the wrong cereal, and so it happens. I'm just saying. I want Ronda Rousey.
The wrong cereal.
If I don't eat Captain Crunch in the morning and it's Apple Jacks, there's a problem. But when I tell you that I think Gina Carano I think it's no contest. I think Gina Carano is gonna knock her out in under 2 minutes. Knockout.
Oh, well,
lights out.
There it is. I mean, we'll wait and see. We have to wait too long. It'll be tomorrow on Netflix.
ATK, I just want to say one thing about MD. What's the MDB9? Yeah, let's keep bringing Tony back. That's right. Tantalizing Tony's here. Tantalizing Tony's here. Let's go.
Yeah, you definitely on MDB 999. You on his radar. You and him would be great friends. I already know. But let's move over to Asuka. We saw her on Backlash. I think a lot of us, the way everything kind of happened at the end, that definitely felt like a farewell. So now, according to Ringside News, Asuka's future in WWE suddenly sounds far more uncertain than fans originally realized following the emotional scene surrounded by her loss at Backlash. So according to David Meltzer, Wrestling Observer, WWE sources are currently describing Asuka internally as semi-retired while she returns to Japan to deal with family matters. Which, does that mean she's still signed with WWE? Does this mean that she's gonna take, I call it like a Roman Reigns break, where it's just kind of like, or a Charlotte Flair break, where it's just kind of like you've gone for a while and then you come back, opposed to what's happened in the last 2 weeks or even the last month or so, where people are getting let go or they're asking to get released from their contracts, or WWE's asking them to have them pay less. So what do you think is going to happen with Asuka?
So let me just say this about Asuka. First of all, Asuka's one of the greats to ever do it. I still am so salty about WrestleMania 34 that she didn't beat Charlotte Flair. I still to this day think that was a bad booking decision. But Asuka taking a step away for personal reasons. We don't know what they are. I think that's a combination of things. I think that TKO has a little bit to do with this. I think her age being 44 has something to do with it. She has to be mentally and physically tired, from being on the grind. I hope we see Asuka again. I don't want to see Asuka as her last match in WWE the way she went out, which was great. Her and Io Sky had a banger, which is what they should have had at WrestleMania. Yep. How they didn't book this at WrestleMania, I do not know. I'm still scratching my bald head about this to this day. But I think Asuka's maybe taking a step back. She has enough money. She doesn't have anything to worry about. And maybe this is a reset for her. And maybe she has time to, reflect and just get herself back in order. We don't know what her personal issues are. We don't know what the family issue is. But whatever is going on with her, I wish her the best. I do think we'll see her again. I think maybe we might not see her again until maybe Survivor Series or even the Royal Rumble. If I'm Asuka, you want to do it right, keep her off TV until the Rumble, have her as back as a surprise, comeback. But you can never take anything away from how great she is. Nobody's ready for Asuka. Her being the only NXT Women's Champion, undefeated, leaving there with the title, and coming into WWE and being basically the Goldberg of WWE as a woman. I just wish her the best. And I really wish I knew what's going on, but you're never going to really know 100% what her actual reason for leaving is. But whatever the case is, it's going to be great when she comes back.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, taking the time off. And also, too, if there's no story for her, then you kind of seen it, right? I think definitely taking that loss to Charlotte 2 times, one coming up to the main roster, which I think really messed, the trajectory of where Asuka should be. Somebody said that Asuka is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, which I definitely agree with. I think the trajectory of how they painted her for NXT versus, how it kind of went main roster, and it's not shabby. They've done superstars far worse, but I think they could have done better by Asuka. So, her taking the time to be with family, and maybe WWE creative taking the time to figure out a good story angle for her to retire her career permanently if she decides to come back. I think it's great for both parties. So we will definitely see what happens. I don't know what you saying, Dylan, but I know you firing up the people in the chat. Shout out to our producer from the future, Dylan. Make sure to clip out that thing about Apple Jackson and Captain Crunch, because wow. So reason why CM Punk is no longer advertised for some events, which we saw I think at the beginning of the week. And here's the thing with that is that, again, we have WWE or TKO asking wrestlers to take pay cuts. We have wrestlers, not continuing their contract. We have wrestlers be let go. So I think we are very, it feels like nobody's above TKO. So you feel like every superstar could get it. So I think everybody was kind of concerned for that. But according to Meltzer again, from WrestlingNews.co, Meltzer wrote in the latest newsletter, CM Punk has been removed from the advertising from the European tour and several other Raw dates in June. We were told there's nothing more to that than a schedule change, which, I mean, I guess. I mean, that's still not giving us a lot of information. So what do you think is happening behind the scenes?
Man, anytime it's behind the scenes and you talk about CM Punk, you never know what's going on, because, CM Punk has the moniker of not being easy to work with. Now, his WWE run, he's had no real issues other than this fan issue at WrestleMania with the thing. And I want to touch on that real quick, if you don't mind. I'm going to say this as being a dad, okay, and of a daughter. If somebody's crowding my daughter and touching her, they're going to get pushed away too. And I don't think because you're a superstar like CM Punk that you should have to catch flack because, he pushed a guy. So what? He pushed a guy. Maybe WWE should have had a little better security for AJ, and his first job is to protect his wife. So if someone touches my kid, my son, my daughter, my friend, guess what? And you're afraid getting too close, you catching a tantalizing elbow to the head. Bottom line, that one. Now, I don't want to tantalizing. Yeah, I wrote it on my elbow so that when you get hit in the face, it goes against your head right there. So, but I'm just saying, people give CM Punk all the time, but this could also be a way to put CM Punk out of the public eye right now. Give him a little break. He did lose to Roman at WrestleMania. Give him a break. He's been grinding. The guy's 40 plus years old. And it's always better when you don't see the superstars all the time. Come back as a special attraction. Give him a rest. His wife's taking the time off. CM Punk has earned his time off. I don't think it has anything to do with money in TKO because he's not one of the guys they're going to touch. CM Punk will be vocal. He ain't taking half a paycheck. He's about his money. So, and that's why AJ Lee's taking a break too. They're not going to lose those two. You're not touching Roman. You're not touching CM Punk. You're not touching Cody. You're not touching any of the elite ones that are in that group where they're taking a 50% pay cut. TKO ain't touching certain people. So, I just think CM Punk's taking a break.
You have faith. I don't. Punk is also still advertised for July 6th episode of Raw from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, his hometown. And the company is keeping him on the listings for July 13th Raw in Dallas, July 20th in Detroit, July 27th in Los Angeles. Every time they come to LA, I'm like, not here. It's so annoying. And August 3rd in Des Moines. So he's still, he's not going anywhere. He's just, taking off those few dates. So, have no fear. But like I said, you have a little bit more faith in TKO than I do, because when money's involved with some people,
don't put those in the mouth. I didn't say I have faith in TKO. I just have faith that CM Punk ain't going to play no games about his money. I didn't say I have faith in TKO. Let's go there, okay? If it was called tantalizing knockout, maybe, but not TKO group. No.
Oh my goodness. So, happening in New York. So, are you a Hog fan? It's in your neck of the woods. I
am a House of Glory fan. I'm good friends with JD from New York. I'm good friends with Solo Monster. So yes, and not to mention Amazing Red, who is one of the co-owners of House of Glory, actually came from where I trained as a wrestler in HWA, Hardcore Wrestling Alliance in Long Island. So I'm a big HOG fan.
Well, there it is. So there's going to be an HOG women's title. Lena Cross is going to be challenging Shotzi for the title, and it's going to be happening Friday, May 22nd. You can see it on Triller TV. So who do you have in this? Lena Cross or Shotzi, who's the champion, or Lena Cross, who's the challenger?
So I'm gonna keep it a buck because I don't try to tell lies to the audience. I'm not that familiar with Lena Cross. I ain't gonna lie. You know, I had a chance to really watch her. I've heard of her here and there, but I'm a Shotzi. I'm a fan of Shotzi, and everything Shotzi does to me is great. I loved it in WWE. I thought she never got the due she deserved. So I don't want to say I know so much about the other lady because the last thing I would do to the audience, to the WWT audience, is lie to them, say this guy's faking. So I really don't know that much about her. But like I said, I have heard of her, but I'm still going with Shotzi. I think you got to keep the title on Shotzi and still build her as that women's champion and have her defending and people coming at her one by one because you want to keep that women's division very strong.
Yeah, very true. So one half of the current AEW Women's Champion Tag Team, so Lena Cross, she's going to be challenging. So she's one half of the AEW Women's World Tag Team Champions. Also, too, I definitely agree with you as far as Shotzi. If you were, I don't know if you got a chance to go to WrestleCon, which I think you did, but the line for Shotzi was crazy. And you know, I agree with you as well. She didn't really get what she should have had as far as WWE, but this indie run that she's making right now is so crazy, and my head decided to not function with me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So I feel like the her indie run is almost reminiscent of, oh my God, I just saw his face. I just saw his face and I just lost it. The indie god.
Cardona?
Help me, Boza. Yes, Matt Cardona. So I feel like her run in the indie scene is kind of on that level where people are excited to see her, and they're more excited to see her on the indie scene versus oh yes, thank you MDB, the indie scene versus WWE. So with that all being said, and I also think she's bringing a lot of eyes to House of Glory on the women's side. I think she's going to remain the champion.
When she was at the big event, cheap plug, the big event in November, I hosted a big event in New York, and I got to interview her last year. And when I tell you that she is one of the most down-to-earth people, and she really, you can tell she loves the business, but she's definitely putting eyes on the product, and you can tell that, not that she's salty, but she realizes that she had so much more to do in WWE, and it could never pair with the right person, and it never could get the motor running with her because for whatever reason they didn't see her the way we see her. And now in the indies, right now they're kicking themselves that they didn't keep Shotzi Blackheart because I love her.
Well, oh, thank you, Jordan from Canada. I'm from Canada too. I mean, one of those things like we want. And I think I can speak for you, but if not, let me know. I think in general, you want people who put their time into wrestling and they have the talent, etc., and they make it to WWE. We want to see them have a great stint at WWE, but it doesn't always happen like that. And I think, you know, that's essentially what happened with Shotzi. But instead of, some people leave WWE and they can't quite get their footing in the indie scene. But Charlie, aka Dakota Kai, is also another one that's her line was kind of crazy too, at WrestleCon during WrestleMania. So it's an experience. I interviewed Taya Valkyrie, who was at WWE as well, is now with AEW and ROH. She finally got the opportunity, and the timing, was during the pandemic. It just didn't work out. And what she's doing right now with ROH is great. So it's one of those things that I don't want to say it is what it is. I was aware of her before WWE, and she's doing amazing things after WWE. So all power to her, and I think definitely, like I said before, she's going to definitely remain the champion. As far as that, this is definitely for you, our producer for the future. Let's get into the SmackDown preview. So we have Gunther. He must decide whether to join SmackDown to challenge Cody Rhodes. So that's happening tonight. I don't know if you want to give a little as far as what you think is going to happen with that, Tony.
I'm still kind of confused on why Gunther's on SmackDown. It makes no sense to me. To me, I don't know what they're doing and why they're having them go after Cody. I don't know. I don't know if because Cody needs somebody. I get it. It's going to be a good pairing with those two. They have wrestled before, but I think the problem with what they do with like bringing Gunther over is like there's no like where's the story? Like what? Like he was on Raw. Next thing you know, he's the retirement guy, and now he's over here with after he beat Seth, he's over here with Cody. Like, where is his direction going? You know, I think Cody can make anything work. I think Cody is the quarterback. I think he's the guy that you can put him in the ring with anybody and have a good match. Gunther is that old school kind of wrestler that he's a throwback. He's definitely back in the days. So you got it's going to be great between us two. Cody Rhodes is going to have a lot of broken blood vessels in his chest because he bruises very easily, and Gunther's going to give him the business. But what do you do there? Do you give Gunther a loss? You can't have him take the title from Cody, or do you? Where do you go?
It's interesting. It's an interesting thing right now. It is. Another thing that's happening, Trick Williams returns to the University of South Carolina for a special celebration. I mean, he's doing amazing things just on as far as mainstream media and where they're positioning him. He's in a it's a good look for him. So what do you think the celebration is going to entail?
With him, you have no idea because he's so innovative. And listen, Trick Williams and his lemon pepper steppers, you know, he might have some real lemon pepper stepper shoes on. Who knows? I don't know what you do with the celebration for a guy like him, but I definitely see a lot of pomp and circumstance. If they're going to do it big. What I'm loving about Trick Williams is that even though he's not technically a babyface yet, he's like a tweener, and you can't help but love this guy, you know? And not to give Sami Zayn credit, but shout out to Sami Zayn for playing his role and being that bit of an a-hole that he needs to be to get Trick Williams to the next level. I think people don't realize what a good pairing Sami Zayn and Trick Williams is. Trick Williams is still very green, guys. He's still very green. Believe what you want to believe. But what he does so well. And he hides what he can't do so well as, you know, whatever they do with Trick Williams, people like this is 4 guys in WWE that are the future of this business. It's Trick Williams, it's Obafemi, it's Carmelo, and who am I missing? One more. Braun Breaker. Those are the 4 guys to me that are future WWE. To me, Trick Williams could main event WrestleMania before Braun and maybe even before Obafemi. I think Trick Williams is that good. He's got the height, he's got the look, he's got everything, and he can talk like nobody else. You know, I think Carmelo Hayes' one backdrop is he's a little smaller guy, so they might not see him the same, you know. But Trick Williams in this celebration tonight, it's going to be great. It's going to be entertaining. Everything he does turns to gold, so I can't wait.
Yeah, actually, I've been talking about this for quite some time as far as Carmelo Hayes. He came over to the main roster, I mean, well before Trick, and I feel like they were kind of doing him a disservice. And everybody spoke to about that. They're like, well, give him time. Then we have Trick who comes and like blazing. So do you think it is a size issue, or like is there something happening backstage? What do you think is happening? Because where Carmelo was when he left NXT, you know, if Trick and Carmelo were to have left the same time in like in a different multi-universe timeline, like they were both in the same level. And it just seems like when Carmelo got to the main roster, like, nah. And then Trick is a totally different story.
Booking is everything. Number one, we know that. You know that you can book somebody to reach the top, and you can book somebody in a mid-card storyline that doesn't work. You know, with the thing with Carmelo Hayes is this, and I do think size is an issue. And I'm gonna say this as a 5'7" guy that, you know, people look at short people a little different. It's a fact of the life. It's true. You can say what you want to say. I'm telling you, as a very good looking man, a guy that's 6'3", uglier, gets more girls than I do because of my height. I'm keeping it a buck. But that being said, I do think booking was a main issue when it comes to Carmelo. I don't think that people in the story in writing the storylines for WWE saw Carmelo as a WWE champion. I think it's a height thing. I think that when you're in WWE champion, you got to be 6'1", 6'2". There are a couple exceptions to the rule. If you're not that tall, you have to be such a big personality in aspects of that you got to put yourself over the top. The thing with the downfall of Carmelo Hayes is this, and it sounds crazy. He's so good of a wrestler. He's so versatile. He's so athletic. He's so fast. but is he WWE champion material in aspects of what he looks like?
For the sake of a producer from the future, the next thing we have is Damian Priest versus R-Truth. Now, R-Truth has been pulled according to, let me get this thing, because it came out as we were thinking. According to Wrestling News Co., R-Truth has been pulled from tonight's WWE SmackDown after being ruled not medically cleared to compete. So it'll be Damian Priest and somebody else battling against Talatanga and Tamatanga. And then Jade Cargill will address the WWE Universe after returning to attack Rhea Ripley. And then Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss look to get retribution on Michin and B-Fab. So all that's happening tonight on SmackDown. So what are you, I mean, we discussed two of the things already, but what are you looking forward to most as far as SmackDown?
This is my frustration. Every time you say the word SmackDown, I just start rubbing my temples to try to calm myself down, because the problem with, number one, the problem with the tag team division with Tamatanga, whoever the Tonga is of the week, it's like, do we even believe what's going on with these guys? Like, you know, like the tag team division is so weak on SmackDown. Who are the tag teams? We got tag team champions. They weren't at WrestleMania. They don't defend. Who are the major contenders? Who the Street Profits are on Raw now? So it's like, who are their opponents? And then what am I looking forward to? I mean, I don't even know what to look forward to, because the booking and the writing to me right now, SmackDown is mid. I don't think they're doing Alexa Bliss and Charlotte any kind of favors. Those two to me should be in the tag team title picture, or put them against each other. Let's turn one of them then. If that's the case, you're wasting these two. You're wasting Alexa Bliss's comeback in this tag team if they're not going to be champions, or going for it at least. And Charlotte ain't no spring chicken. Sorry, she's getting a little older, and we need to see her more. I'm keeping it 100. Look, the younger stars are coming up. We got to see more Charlotte Flair. She's that good, and we got to see her. And we're not seeing them. And I think that, you know, time is running against her right now. As for everybody else, that's just it. What's SmackDown to me? It's the B show, and they're proving it to be the B show. I think the writing is mid. Somebody give me a pen and let me book SmackDown, because I watch it because I have to, but I'm not like, I can't wait. You know, it's like, oh, okay, that was all right. All right. You know, when you're watching wrestling, you should be excited every week. Of course, there'll be down times. There are ebbs and flows, there are peaks and valleys, but SmackDown's in the dumpster right now. You know, they should call it Smack Dumpster.
Oh boy.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Don't edit. Don't clip that one, Dylan. All right. Well, with that being said, I know we might not have a lot of.
I just got to be honest, because listen, SmackDown should be that's where the Rock started, okay? That's the SmackDown is the people show. It's the workhorse show. And you think of this as the workhorse show right now? Right now, it's like they're grasping. They're not using the people properly. Like, write better. Like, get some actually wrestling fans to write this stuff. You know, and the women deserve. To me, SmackDown should be the women's show. Like, highlight all the women. Let's get the women going. Let's get Fatal Influence going. Let's get Jade Cargill more and more. Let's get more Rhea Ripley. Let's get Charlotte. Let's get some of the up and comers. Where's Julia? Where's Kiana James? What Kiana James was at Elimination Chamber, and she killed it. What are you doing with her? What, you know, it's Tiffy time. Well, it should be Tiffy time every Friday night.
I agree with you. However, I think both of us, probably more you than myself, we've seen the iterations of SmackDown where it's the ebbs and flows. There's sometimes where it's hot for a season and then it's not. So I'm holding out. My Canadian heart is holding out that it will eventually get better. But with SmackDown being what it is, something you can believe in is the Women's Wrestling Archive.
Women's wrestling didn't just show up yesterday in glitter boots. We've been here the entire time, body slamming through history.
The Women's Wrestling Archive launches 2026, and it's gonna pave the way for all women's wrestling. Because if we don't document it, a man might say he did it first.
This has been a passion project for a very long time. Head over to the womenswrestlingarchive.com to donate 1, 5, or whatever you can. It all goes a long way.
Let's give these women the spotlight that they've always deserved.
Her story belongs in history. Help us preserve it today. Join us at womenswrestlingarchive.com. Support the archive. Support women's wrestling. Donate today.
Today. Oh. I think you're muted. Check your mic.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I don't know why it went there. So maybe my phone's ready. Anyway, shout out to everybody in chat. Jordan from Canada, Bosa, MDB, 999. Our producer from the feature, Eric, was at the top of the chat. Lynette, all y'all for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Something else that is happening this evening is ROH. So Zeta Steel grabs the last spot for ROH Women's title, survival of the fittest match. So who do you have in this? This is going to be happening at 5 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock your time. So who do you have in this match? So the title match is Athena, Maya World, Trish Adora, Zeta Steel, and Billy Starks. So this is the ROH super card of honor. So who do you have in this match?
Listen, Athena is a wrestling god. She's the longest reigning champion, I think, ever right now, right? Like I think she's like competing with Bruno Sammartino's like one of his runs.
All right, Bosa, let us know that Bosa's our info checker. So if you see him in the chat, then he'll cross check it for you.
Yeah, let me know. She's got this title a long time. I don't see nobody beating her until 2029. I think that Ring of Honor, as not as high profile as they should be, is doing everything right with Athena. I think that once again, WWE dropped the ball with Ember Moon, and I think that she could have really been that next star, that really put them to that next level. But I can't bet against her for anything, and I love Billy Starks, but how can you go against Athena on anything? The way they're booking her great. Like, that's how you book a champion,
Yeah, so she's been champion for 1,252 days. She reached 1,000 days last year in September. There's something, she was like the longest reigning ROH champion. I think the longest was, okay, so she's officially the longest reigning champion in ROH history, having surpassed Samoa Joe, who was 645 days in September 15th, 2024.
And being a champion over 1,000 days anywhere, you're a first-time Balor Hall of Famer anywhere because of that.
I think Camille, she was NWA Women's Champion for 1,000 days. I just want to cross-check that, but I mean, I think Athena's still beating her. So yeah, so you have Athena. A witness, apologize for my dog. She's talking to other dogs in the neighborhood. But you have Athena for this one.
Yeah, look, how do you bet against her the way they're booking her? Like, it'd be a shock. It'd be for Athena to lose. It'd have to be a really high-profile show, a big show where Athena's going to lose the title. I'm not going to do it on a show like this, so I don't think Athena has a chance of losing.
What do you think is going to be, because we've been talking about this. I mean, I definitely last year we were talking about this, especially when Mercedes was kind of being the belt collector. What do you think is the end game for Athena?
I want to see Athena back on AEW television. I want to see Athena get the AEW world title. I know a lot of people don't take Ring of Honor as serious as they should, but if you look at it, and the production value is not the best, we agree with that, but the wrestling is great. And I think that she needs to be more in a high-profile spotlight. I think that I would love to see her versus Mercedes, her versus, Willow, her, just put her back on the main roster of AEW and get her that women's championship and book her the same way that you booked her Ring of Honor. Because a lot of people, as good as she is, I don't think people give it a gravitas that she deserves because it's Ring of Honor. You know, let's not forget, guys, Ring of Honor was bought by Tony Khan, and they, you know, it's not the same Ring of Honor that we all came up with, but it's still Ring of Honor, and they still wrestling their butts off. So I just want to see Athena prosper. I want to see her maybe, I don't even want to see her drop that title. I want to see her maybe defend that title on more AEW programming, and, you know, maybe we go title and go that way too, you know?
Anything is possible. Another possible thing that's happening is our last story for the day. Rusev and Gangrel, they officially launched a new wrestling school in Nashville called KECH Pro Wrestling in Nashville, Tennessee. So, I mean, another wrestling school with two legends. You know, it's one of those things where it's a good thing that's happening as far as that, because you have so many different wrestling schools. I mean, shout out to Knox Pro out here that are producing so much talent, and it's also a safer environment. So, you know, anything that I don't know if you can wave a magic wand, you can expect coming out of this school in Nashville, Tennessee. And do you plan on making the trek to check it out?
You know, here's what's crazy. I want to announce this. This is a breaking news. So I'm moving to Las Vegas. So I'm moving to the West Coast. Yes.
Damn.
Yes.
What?
I haven't told you. Yes. So I just notified my job today. I'm moving to Vegas. I'm gonna be traveling a little bit more. I'm doing some stuff with other content creator, Matt Kimke. So he's gonna have me traveling back and forth. So I'm definitely gonna check that out. So anything that you guys in the chat want me to check out, you know, let TK know, and I'll cover it for WWT, because I'm definitely gonna check that out. Because I think Rusev Miro is, you know, he's coming towards the end of his career soon too. They're not booking him to be any main eventer no time soon. So I would love to check that out. And Gangrel, people don't realize how great a teacher Gangrel is. I've met him a million times, and the guy knows his business. So I definitely want to check it out. Wrestling schools that have two legit legends in the business is always good for the up-and-comers, because we need more safety in the ring. We need more people to be able to tell stories. We need the psychology. People don't realize how important psychology is in wrestling. You don't have to always be the biggest guy. You don't have to be the greatest. But if you know what's going on and you can, you know, portray that to the audience. Look, the main thing is this. You got to be big, but you got to talk big. And you got to know big. And if you can make people believe that you're 6'5", trust me, you'll be 6'5". So I think that's great for their school, you know?
There it is. Somebody said something. Oh, MDB asking, does this mean you're going to become part of the Raider Nation, Tony?
So here's the thing, guys. I'm from New York. I'm a Giant. I'm a Yankee. I'm a Ranger. I'm a Knick. I am going to respect the Las Vegas Raiders when I'm there, but I'm going to always be a New Yorker for my entire life. So you know, I wear the black and silver just because it looks good on me, but you know.
Wow, there it is. Some things for you guys to highlight. Definitely keep it locked in the hour. Honey's gonna be doing Honey Night SmackDown, so definitely kind of stay tuned for that. We may or may not do a post show for ROH, so you know, keep it locked. You know, we like to spring stuff on you. And then the Weekend Crew, me and Christina will be doing some shows. We haven't decided which ones. There's a lot of options. So keep it locked. We're going to be doing something this Sunday. With that being said, Tantalizing Tony, where can everybody find you?
In my room. No, other than that, listen, guys, I want to thank you for, first of all, TK, we didn't have a chance to do this. I want to do this right here. I want to thank you for including me in everything. We got to finally link up with Mark Henry's deal over WrestleMania weekend, and meeting you was probably one of my highlights of WrestleMania weekend, because no, I'm being honest. You're very well-rounded in the wrestling business, and being that strong Black woman, let's keep it a buck. We need that in this business. So I want to thank you for even including me, because I'm, you know, everybody knows me. If you know me, I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and I'm a loose cannon. You saw the very tantalizing Tony today, but because I want to impress her. But trust me, going forward, I'm crazy. But you can find me on Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast on YouTube, Tantalizing Tony on Instagram, Tony Tantalizing on X, I still call it Twitter, and Tantalizing Tag Team Podcast on TikTok. And I want to say one more thing, TK. I'm sorry. I should tell you this off air, but I keep it a buck. I can't do Raw Monday because I'll be at Raw Monday, just so you know. Okay. I'm going to Raw. And I am traveling to Italy, by the way. So I want to make sure that, yes. So shout out to my boy Matt Kimke of the Vlog Warriors. Got to put him over, who's sending me to Italy to cover Clash Italy. I want to make sure that this channel here, that Women's Wrestling Talk, gets exclusive video footage from Italy for the Clash and Raw. So I'll be at both shows.
All right, there it is. MDB saying anybody who calls himself tantalizing got to be a little bit crazy. Oh my gosh. Well, with that being said, not next week, but the week after, definitely keep it locked to our Raw watch along and post show with Tantalizing Tony. He's taking over the reins for that. The mayor will be doing a whole new original programming. Definitely hit him up because we working on it, but you know, the mayor be in the streets a lot. You can find me everywhere at TK Trinidad. The mayor will be at the Ontario Comic-Con, so definitely keep it locked for there. And then also I may be at the Knox Pro show tomorrow too. So a lot of different things happening, but you can follow us everywhere at www.talkpod.com. And with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao for now.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.